I met a guy that keeps all of his ball pythons in his classroom with his high school students, and not only keeps them in the classroom, he's running his breeding program through the students in the class, in the science class, so the students can learn about it. I'm talking like 39 ball pythons. Stick around, I'll tell you all about it. I'll introduce you to Joe, the man behind this project. Hey, it's Adam at Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me today. If we've not met before, this channel is all about my family's journey from ball python hobbyist to ball python business, and we document everything right here. We also get a chance to meet some really cool people sometimes. Today, I spent some time with a guy named Joe, who was a high school teacher out in Texas. He runs his whole breeding program and his ball python hobby through his classroom. I'm not going to give you many spoilers other than to let you know this isn't like one little ball python over here and one in a tank over here. I mean, he's got his full rack system. He's breeding. They're working on the pairings together. There's a really, really cool twist in the video about what he does with the hatchlings and some opportunities for those students to become lifelong ball python owners. Enjoy the show today. We got Joe from Kingdom Pythons 143. This is pretty cool. I don't understand all of the ins and outs to it, but what I do understand is that Joe works on a breeding project with his students, and I'm assuming this is high school, but I actually don't even know the age of the students. So I know that Joe has a full-on like collection in the classroom. This isn't just like a ball python or two. And so it caught my attention, and Joe was kind enough to reach out to me and make time in his schedule. You know, this is really cool. So, and I wanted to make sure that we give a healthy, and I mean that in many different ways, but a healthy shout out to the kids. We didn't really find a way to bring the kids themselves on. So I want your students to know that I think it's incredibly cool what they're doing, and what a great experience. And thanks for the support that you all have given to me too. Joe, tell us what you got going on there in the classroom, man.
All right. Well, basically started before I got back in the classroom. I used to teach a long time ago. Then I left, kind of did some consulting, worked at the university. Then COVID hit, and just right before COVID hit, I had an opportunity to go back in the classroom, teaching at the school that my sons attend. So that was great. And I get in there, and of course, when I had taught before, I had some snakes in the room, a couple of ball pythons, adopted a few things here and there, had a bird, just different animals. I thought it's important for that classroom environment to kind of have.
And can't even think of the word. What a subject do you teach, or is it all around subjects?
Yeah, I teach a lot. So I teach basically high school, mainly 11th and 12th graders.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm teaching AP Bio, which is a college level biology class.
Yep.
AP Environmental Science, which is a college level environmental science class. I teach forensics. I teach anatomy and physiology. I teach what else? I've taught biophysics.
Yeah.
And I have a biotechnology class that's starting this fall, which is awesome. But the craziest thing, and I think it's mainly been because of what I've been doing in the classroom, is now I have 2 herpetology classes that I'm starting.
Real cool. Good for you.
Yeah, one in the fall and one in the spring. So how did I get there? Well, came to school here. Administration's great. Let me have a couple of snakes in the classroom. Actually, those snakes were my sons, Cameron and Luca. And then I had a snake as well that I purchased. We went to NARBC, and I purchased a piebald, which is my favorite. When I first started liking ball pythons, that's the snake I saw. That's the snake.
That's the one. That's like the hook that gets all. Like, even if we can't buy the piebald to start with, that's the one that we're like,
exactly.
I'm gonna have one of those one day. Yeah. I was like, I just got my first visual piebald 4 months ago, and I was like a kid on Christmas Day. I was just giddy. I was like, look, I can't believe it. I'm holding one of these. It's mine, you know?
Yeah, that's what I like about you so much, Adam. I mean, you have similar taste in snakes.
Well, and it's fun to be like, like, I don't know your age and we don't have to talk about that, but like, I'm 42. Like, there's not a whole lot of new things where I'm like, man, this is brand new and amazing. Like, this has been just such a fun ride for me.
Yeah.
And especially through COVID, your experience is interesting to me that you went into the classroom at COVID time when you hear of a lot of people leaving. But I don't know if it was tumultuous or not, but for me, it was a tumultuous time. And so the snakes are super cool. And they just brought a whole lot of calm to me and a really, yeah, I know it was a crazy, I know I'm no worse off than anybody else and probably better than a lot of people, their situations, but it was relatively a rough time for me. But, and you said the NARBC show, which one was that, Tinley or Arlington?
Arlington, yeah. We have a pretty big one here in Arlington. So
okay, so you're in Texas.
Correct. I'm in Fort Worth, about 15 minutes away from Arlington.
I had Googled the name of your school, which we can keep private if you want. That's okay.
No.
It's a very common private school name throughout the United States. I was like, I have no idea where Joe is at.
Yeah. I'm in West Fort Worth. Is basically, and the school name. This is part of the school project. And so, we make it clear. I'm wearing the S on my chest for All Saints Episcopal School in Fort Worth.
Okay, cool.
That's where I'm at. But yeah, I'm 55 and everything is, I like getting new things because a lot of things are old and it starts to hurt too. So.
Oh yeah.
but no, the pie ball was, when I saw it the first time, I mean, I think it was 15 grand, 20 grand.
Right.
So there was no way. And then I'm walking around NARBC and I see $300.
Yeah.
$350 sold.
Right.
So I started out with those 3 snakes. We also have a bearded dragon and a tortoise.
Yeah.
A red-footed tortoise. And so mainly had seniors that first year I was here. Kids, they loved them. They just loved the snakes. And, it was almost like a service animal. Kids, at this school, they're applying for multiple schools as a junior and senior. There's a lot of stress, finally getting ready to graduate and all that stuff. They're coming down here because they're upset or just need a break, sitting under a table and holding a snake.
Yeah.
So just really, really cool. I'm going to shut this off because I'm hearing some reverb. So really, really cool stuff. And then my second year, I got a few more snakes, maybe 2 or 3 more. I got a cinnamon and then a het hypo.
And how long ago was that?
This was I started here at All Saints in 1920. So not 1920, school year 19 and 20. Fall of,
gotcha.
2019. That's how I say it in the education.
I got you. Okay.
Fall of 2019, spring of 2020. So the first year I had those 3 snakes, and then the second year I added a couple more. And with my genetics portion of my AP biology class, I had a group of kids. Now, at this time during COVID, we were kind of in a hybrid model. So I probably had half the kids that I would have normally had.
Right.
So with those kiddos, we did a little bit different. The kids that came face to face than I did with those that were online because I had access to materials and stuff for them. And so we started looking at genetics through this kind of phenotypic lens of the ball python.
Right.
And so it was great, kind of crunching Punnett squares and those kinds of things and ratios and odds and all that with them able to see and then having what ifs. And so one of the projects we did was kind of just looking at, potential pairings of either the snakes that we have or find some snakes. So we were looking at, we were looking at Justin Kiboka. And, we basically, the kids came up with some basic pairings. And I went ahead and I kind of sent that to Justin. I said, hey, my students are, giving, some potential pairings as a project. This is what we have in the collection. This is what we might have in the collection. What do you think? Could you give him some feedback? He loved it. And this is the community, right? You constantly talk about the community and just how important it is. And that right off the bat, he basically emailed me back, gave, hey, these are great pairings. I would do this, 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 and this. Kids will love that. So right then that sparked it. It sparked this love and interest in these ball pythons. And I already had it. And of course I wanted to share it with kids, but they took it to a different level. And that's what kids always do. You give them an opportunity, they just take it to a different level that I never even thought of.
Yeah.
Never even thought of. So they want to start a breeding program. Now, of course, these are seniors, and I'm like, you know how long it takes to breed. We've gone over this, so you're not going to say, well, we don't care. We don't care. You could start a YouTube channel, and we can follow and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you can stay in touch. Yeah.
Right. And so that's what got it started. We basically, and I can show you, basically I started with this little Craftsman rack right here.
Yeah.
Tubs for my other original snakes.
Those tubs are what I started mine on. Those hefty tubs, the gray ones with the stacked lid like that.
Yeah,
that's what I started mine with.
Yeah, and so I used this as a rack, and I had heat tape along the back, like 4-inch heat tape along the back, and I was able to stick 2 on each one, and then it started just growing and growing and growing. And then I had then I ended up getting some sea serpent racks. Slowly but surely, and I'm able to get them from Chris right here at Arlington because he's always in Arlington. Right. And so I don't have to pay shipping, and I can just chuck it in there. And then that led to a 70 rack. I've got now 3 of those with 1 coming in, and we've got a total of 39 snakes now.
Wow.
And
Joe, do you have crazy? Is there a second device going? I'm hearing that reverb as well too.
Just my speaker. Let me see. Let me just shut this down and make sure. How about now?
Check.
Can you hear it?
Well, a little bit. Let's see. No,
maybe it could be my. I have an air machine on, maybe.
Oh no, it was with the sound, but no, I think it's okay. I don't hear it now. Okay, we'll try it. So, sorry, you were telling you'd gone from the hefty tubs to the sea serpents, and you can get those at Arlington, and 39 snakes, you said, right?
Right. I've got, so, initially, and we can get into that, how that looked initially, but the community was amazing. I've got 16 males and 13 females, and mainly because initially when I was getting snakes, there was no, plan. It was just, what do we have? And then, what looked cool, or what was cheap. So, initially. And then, we were able to pick up a few things, and
now if I can ask, how were you funded? Was this you funding them out of your pocket? Was it the school? It's you?
Yeah, pretty much me. I have, again, one of the things I learned as being a teacher, when you start having animals in the classroom, or a specific kind of animal, we kind of benefit from the problem that the reptile industry has, and that's just people getting, an animal and not knowing what to do with it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Right. And so what ends up happening is then, people get these things, and then next thing you know, Ferrara has snakes, or Ferrara has this, or Ferrara has that. And it happened the same thing when I first started teaching with iguanas. I had a little iguana that I adopted from somebody. Next thing you know, it had 3 or 4 iguanas. So I actually 4 of the snakes that I have were actually donated to the classroom. And so we have this year we'll have potentially 7 clutches, 6 or 7 clutches. Yeah, which is crazy. 3 of them are actually clutches for projects that the kids picked, that the kids wanted to do, that we were able to do. So that was awesome. That's going to be awesome.
And so have you produced any before this year, or is this the first year?
No, this is my first year.
Cool.
First year, yeah. And I'm actually putting the video, like I'm learning all this stuff as far as the kids do a lot of it during the year. But now I'm trying to get, clutch number 1, which was a het pied. This was it was amazing because it was, of course, my dream snake, right? And so I have I'm on Justin's Patreon because I'm trying to learn as much as possible.
Right.
And through some side conversations, and what I'd been already shared initially, because just telling people about the kids and what we're doing, and then they're seeing stuff. Somebody says, I'm looking. So I was looking at the time. I was looking for breeder females, just some proven females that I can get in really quick. And I had gotten a granite from New England Reptiles Nerd. Yeah. That was ready to go, and she's already laid, so she proved out for me perfectly. And then this snake, this het pied offer comes in. And I'm like, all right, I'm looking what these are up on Morph Market. I'm like, it's going to be 800, 900 bucks. So I don't know if I can do that, but guy gave it to me.
Wow.
Next thing you know, right. So he's like, I want you to have at least one clutch. You got that male, you got that visual male pied, and you need to have some pied babies.
Yeah, I got to get something started here.
Right. And so that's what happened. So, we put that, and I don't have an ultrasound. So we've been researching.
Yep.
The kids do lots of stuff. We do projects on bedding, humidity and mold growth and all that kind of stuff. We collect up numbers. And so that's part of what we're going to do and try to give back to what we're learning about different substrates and stuff like that to the community, plus other things that we have planned on. But so we were just watching, and next thing you know it, we didn't drop temperatures or anything like that.
Right.
The kids have to do observations. I can tell you about that later, as far as how some of the kids have adopted some of the babies, and they get to adopt a snake. They learn how to use it, how to hold it, how to feed it, how to take care of the cleaning and sexing and all that stuff. They get to learn all that. And like I've got one down here. This is Lena snake. I haven't sexed any of them yet, but this snake here, just a little, normal het pied.
Yep.
And it's in its tub, and it's got her name on it, Lena. And that's Lena's snake. And so she keeps track of it, comes in, feeds it, takes care of it, changes the paper, water, all that stuff, checks temperatures and all that. And so,
and now that's one that you've produced?
Yeah, that's one that produced with this female. Let me show you her. Because of course we name all of our snakes, and this is Eowyn. So all the first year snakes, the groups of snakes, were named after Lord of the Rings or Hobbit characters.
Okay.
So that's what we've got going here. So all the snakes. So this was the one that was donated to us. And ended up giving us 10 eggs.
Cool.
They were so big, Adam, I had to put them in 2 boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, what a cool thing.
Yeah, so then you put her back in here. And so, so we had our first clutch there. Kids were so excited coming in. I've got cameras in the tubs, so I'm helping them see, the contortions the snake goes through and all this stuff. And, counting down the days, and everything worked perfect.
I say, what day did she hatch on, or did not lay on?
She laid on May 8th, and then she hatched. I guess it would have been July or no? She in July. No, she was in May. That's when she hatched. She hatched in May. Okay, and she laid 60 days before that.
Yeah,
we actually cut them on day 57. Because there were 2 that were pipping out.
Yeah, once they pip, it's kind of a
once they pip, there were 2 of them. By the time I got all the kids in class, getting them out of other classes, we've got to see the snakes and stuff. Yeah. Whenever I got that happen, then I think maybe 3 or 4 of them were pipping. And so we slowly cut, and it was great. And then we had one that the umbilical was wrapped around its neck. We thought we lost it, and we were able to I have that on video too. I got to edit that sucker, but and then he's doing fine. He's a champ. That was good. That was
you untangled him or pushed him back.
Yeah, it was crazy because again, never seen this. I don't think I've ever seen a video of this. Right. But I was poking the snake just to see if I got any response. And then I didn't see his head at all, so I was a little worried. And I put him back. I said, "All right, let me maybe he'll come out." So I waited a few hours and then pulled him back out. And I was like, "No, I'm not getting any. Let me just poke around a little more." Mm-hmm. And then I kind of turned it up and I saw what I thought was the yolk, but the vessels all along it were really, really dark, and they were really kind of like after you worked out, how your veins kind of pump up. And that's what it looked like. I thought it was a tumor actually. Mm-hmm. And it looked like it was just sticking to the side of the snake, like it was part of the snake. Now, I didn't know how close that yolk was when the snake was in the egg. I didn't know that it was like right up on top of it. I just assumed. I wouldn't know. Yeah. So I'm thinking, you've got this mass attached to it, which is a tumor, and it's really a yolk. And so, and then I looked at it and I got to one part of it that looked totally familiar. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's the yoke. So I'm slowly starting. And then what happened was it was so tight around the snake's neck. It was pulling it so tight that I guess the blood supply was backing up into the yoke, which was making those vessels look bigger. Right. Mm-hmm. So it was crazy. So we're there and I get it out from under, wrapped around three times, maybe twice or three times. And then got it out, and then I didn't disconnect it from the yoke, so that was good. And so then I just left it inside the tub with the umbilical attached to the yoke, and then I put it in the incubator and just waited to see. Kept it moist, and then I was just hoping that it would absorb, the yolk.
Right.
A few days later, it absorbed maybe half of it, and then disconnected.
Okay.
So waited. It didn't even shed after 10 days, but I went ahead and fed it, and it ate like a champ, and it's been eating like a champ.
Oh, good. That's the magic touch.
And so, not only was it our first clutch, but we learned that as well. The kids were crying. I mean, it was because
I didn't think. How many visuals did you hit?
4.
Okay.
So pretty much normal, on the odds. 6 normal het pies and then 4 visuals, and they're pretty cool looking. They go anywhere from pretty much 50-60% white to nearly 100% pattern. Just some little pieces of white in there. So really, really cool. A couple of great looking emojis. So the kids love that. They'll pumpkin face stuff. And so that's how, that's what's look. And it's, now it's crazy. I mean, the school supports it. I've got this whole, I can kind of move it around. So this is, near my window here. That's the old snake, and that's one of the FB70s, or not FB70s, but the 70 racks there. And then I've got here is what is this, a 28? I guess it is.
28 quart tubs.
Right, yeah. So these are basically, I have some cool looking snakes in there. I have. You want to see this? You want to see the most expensive money?
Well, everybody does. Hang on real quick before you pull that, before we go down that, tell everybody where they can follow this project. And I know that you've got your building your social media presence and all of that.
Yeah. So we're on Instagram, and that's Kingdom Pythons 143. It comes up as you can just put in Kingdom Pythons. And I think that works. And then on that, once you get that, I have the link to the YouTube, which is also Kingdom Pythons. Cool. The Kingdom Pythons, I think it's EDU on YouTube. And we've got like 60 subscribers right now, which just start, but we don't have much up there. But it's starting.
And I'll have all the links down below in the description as well.
Cool.
Everybody can click straight to that. Joe, give me 1 second. I just got a note from my rat guy, as I thought I might. Let me text him real quick, and then I'm all yours.
All right, cool.
Okay. All good. He's going to come Saturday instead of today, actually.
Cool. Great.
So okay. So your pride and joy, your money snake. What do you got here?
Oh yeah. So you were asking, so I did happen to get an investor, and it was a family member, and just loved the entrepreneurship of it. I mean, he pretty much didn't graduate high school, kind of worked his way up, has done an amazing job with real estate.
Figured it out, right?
Figured it out. Yeah. And just loved what we were doing, loved with the kids, loved this whole idea of breeding, and this kind of thing. And he, gave us some money. And so with it, I purchased kind of the second round, because one of the big projects the kids want are, of course, morphs of Batmans.
Okay.
And then dreamsicles. Of course, this is what they want. So
I'm not immune to either of those. I'm not chasing the Batmans, but dreamsicles, yeah.
That would have taken a long time, right, to get. And so what I'm trying to do is, I just watched your video with Leviathan and
Steven, yep.
With Steven, yeah. And you guys talk about just the brand and what it means and that kind of thing. And that just hit home because, that's what from the beginning, kind of trying to isolate what was it. And it's always been about this kind of education piece, that's our focus. That's what we're going to do. That's why we want snakes in kids' hands, because not only do they get that experience, but they get the knowledge of and understanding of what it takes. And they also love it. I did a summer camp, a herpetology camp. It was pretty much a snake camp, and kids they just held 5th grade all the way up to 9th grade. And so, they were just holding snakes, and we did paper dissections, and they learned all about it. And we had one egg collection that we had to collect and set up a box. So they got to see all that. But, some of them want snakes, and they're not going to buy dreamsicles and stuff like that. Right. They're not going to do that. Maybe eventually they will. So, we're really kind of committed to, the pieds and little morphs of pieds and, the pinstripes and, the lemon blasts and those kinds where you can still see, the genetics in it. You get a good look and say, I love normals actually anyway. But yeah, so with this, what I'm trying to do is with some of the higher end stuff, have at least a visual and then have a het. I don't want to, I can't do a het to het and be a part of a project that long where I'm waiting for those odds to kind of just happen.
Right.
Mainly because I want the kids to be able to see the stuff, and they need to understand. I mean, we are doing some het to hets. I'll show you. But when it comes to some of those big things, I'm going to do a visual, do a het if I can. So we picked up a Batman because I had no plan on picking up a Batman, but of course I was at NARBC. The kids were there. They were interviewing people.
Oh, cool. They went too. All right.
Yeah, it was, and then, there we're at Justin's table and I see this thing and it's got this happy face on it with a goatee. And I'm thinking that's me right there. So I got to buy it. But,
there you go.
So. And she's beautiful, and it's a female.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Yeah, and she's female. I'll show you that head stamp there if I can get it here. Let's see. See that?
Yeah, they're so good looking. Let me make you a little bigger on there. Let's see here. Yeah, man.
So that head stamp right there is just what made me just fall in love with it. And she just shed too. So let me get that head stamp back up. Oop, this is hard to do.
Where's she at? Maybe 400 grams, 500, something like that right
now? She's at 540 right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 540. And so, will she be able to go? Maybe if she's a late bloomer, maybe if I, can get her to, they say, right, 1,100 grams maybe. And then when you start pairing them, she can put on another 300 or 400 grams. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not worried too much about that. But that's the kids, we named it Precious, which I don't know if you know the Lord of the Rings. That's the little ugly looking kind of character, Gollum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of holds the ring. Well, they want to call it Precious because I wouldn't let go of it. It's like, yeah. But so that's the most expensive snake in the collection. But we got that one because the kids really want, they want the Batman combos, and so I was able to pick up a chocolate cinnamon orange dream male, and so that is going to be bred with Precious, and hopefully we can get some.
Wow! Oh yeah.
I mean,
doing all kinds of things with that.
Yeah. So and we've got a visual, another story of a snake that was given to us. I had a loaner agreement with a local breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I bought a Cypress pinstripe het lav male from Canova. And I wanted to find a visual female, and grow it up. Well, this guy had a visual female and not a proven breeder, but she was up there.
Yeah.
And so I approached him, and we kind of discussing this idea of loaning. And I'm not comfortable with loaning my snakes, but I might take somebody else's snake if it could help me.
Yeah, it's always a tough conversation for sure.
Yeah, and there's some videos on it, and I don't know. This one worked out good for me. It didn't work out great for him, unfortunately, because he had some health issues, and so I keep him in my prayers. But what ended up happening was he couldn't keep his collection because of certain issues, and he had huge retics that he was giving away, and he wanted me to have. And I was like, I can't do that. I'll help you sell them. Yeah, help you sell them. And his kids they didn't want the collection either. And so next thing you know, they gave me that snake. They let me have that snake. And of course they don't want the first offspring from it because they don't want snakes anymore. Yeah. So she's pretty great. And she's actually, she's already had her prelay shed, I think. And then we're just waiting and watching her with Canon.
That'll be fantastic. So, I mean, you'll have visual recessives. I mean, well, obviously already with the pies, but there'll be a lot going on in those.
Yeah, and I also have a blackhead lavender albino that's the same size as. She's the same size as Precious. So this is her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those blackheads do great things with them.
Yeah. So that's really the firepower right there we have, and it gets us to not only potentially the dreamsicle piece, but some other options for lavender albino. And then with pieds, I have a male mahogany pied, and I have a female mahogany Mojave het pied. Okay. And so we're going to put those together, and I don't know. Again, we would have to get the super mahogany to do. Yeah,
you might be able to hit a Suma eventually, or right off. So you never.
Yeah, right off. Yeah. So again, we'll just see. But again, we should hopefully at least have half pieds of something. And,
right. So let me ask you, you're producing hatchlings. You said this year you'll have 6 or 7. What happens to all the hatchlings? Will you be selling some? Obviously, I mean, project holdbacks and that kind of thing. But I mean, you could have 30 to 40 to 50 hatchlings from those clutches. So what's the plan on that, or do you know?
Yeah, well, we went into it, before, it wasn't just, I guess I kind of gloss over. The kids wanted to have a breeding program, and then we just had a breeding program. No, there was a lot of planning and thinking about what that looked like. And I made them, kind of engage in a lot of these conversations. And we looked at different breeders. We looked at, videos like yours. I mean, those are great. I hope you understand how important videos like yours are, because there are not a lot of people. Like when I first started looking at stuff, I was listening to Chris Hardwick. Mm-hmm. And, just his are this kind of the same, from the beginning. Here's what I do here. Here's what I do here. Here's what I do here, and, you can always ask somebody on a show, and they'll tell you and they'll say stuff. But, to really be able to go back and, rewind and look at it and those kinds of things, those are very, very important for the industry, I think, and for the community as well. So good for you on that.
Thank you. And I there's always this sort of like, what do they call it? Imposter complex. Like for anybody who hasn't seen any other of my shows, I always say, my channel is about my journey from hobbyist to business, which is a marketing way of going, there's a lot I don't know, man. I'm figuring it out. I'm learning. And one of the, my topics or my presence or my style of video, I don't have other YouTube. I mean, I've got some guitar YouTube stuff, but that's just me goofing off playing guitar. So nothing professional or business oriented or that frankly matters that much to me as this channel. So I didn't have any experience with that. And I just kind of jumped in and went. So thank you. That's really good, interesting feedback, because I don't necessarily set out to go. I get kind of nerdy in depth on things, but I don't set out to. I just get excited about what I'm talking about, and suddenly,
it's real, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So, all right, I interrupted you though. So you said that there was a plan as far as what would happen with the hatchlings, but so where does that lead to?
Right. The cost of running, this, how that is.
Yeah.
The good thing is that, I'm able to keep them here. I have access to the snakes 24/7. I live maybe 10 minutes from the school, not even. And so, summertime I'm up here and I get to, just do the things I need to do. So space issues, not really an issue. I've got this whole wall that I can actually use.
Oh, cool. Wow, yeah.
So I've taken this whole wall. I've got a stainless steel table over there where I kind of do the cleaning and that kind of stuff. And we cut eggs and we've got the, an incubator. And I kind of like the small incubator. I don't know why, but this sucker has been so, this is also from Sea Serpents. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. We're supposed to say that, right? But I like the small incubators. It seems like the temperature is like right on.
It's easier
a lot. That
definitely easier to regulate. Yeah, if anybody's watching this going, how should I start on my incubator? Take a sidestep real quick. I have a video. I'm looking at it's right here. I have an incubator that is 7 feet tall. I literally can stand inside of it. It's an old wine fridge. And I thought it was great. I was like, look at this massive thing. And it's meant to be a wine display, and a wine fridge that big is not meant for cheap wines. So it's really ornate and all that. But yeah, it fluctuates about an inch and a half to almost, not an inch and a half, a degree and a half to 2 degrees from the bottom to the top, even with, I have 4 fans inside of it in that thing. So what I'm going to end up having to do is I'm really going to have to cover everything inside with the heat tape, because I thought if I had it on the bottom, the heat would rise and I could blow it to the top. It doesn't. It's the hot spot on mine, weirdly enough, is the bottom. Anyway, that's a big sidestep. But to your point, anybody watching that's wondering what to go after, those like under counter wine fridges, if you're going to convert one, or about that tabletop size, you can nail it. Maybe 1 fan at most. Otherwise, you might not even need a fan. You get what can you fit in there? 4 boxes on yours?
Well, I can fit 4 if I leave the shelves in. But if I take the shelves out, I can put probably 8.
There you go. So that's a lot of snakes that you don't need a huge incubator for.
Right. So so basically the plan is to focus on the projects that the kids are researching. So that's the one. So holdbacks of those snakes. So this is really the first. The clutches that are hatching now are those babies. Those hatchlings will be hets of clowns, hets of lavender albinos, and hets of pieds. And there'll be some cool ones. Now I have one girl that's going on. So far the 3 clutches have followed. Like if I have this chart right there on ball python follicular development, the whole reproductive cycle.
Right.
I have all this, and they've really been on fire that way. This girl, of course, who is het clown, she's a pastel jigsaw het clown.
Wow.
And I have a blade clown male. So I'm thinking we're gonna get some clowns.
Right.
So I'm like watching, and she gets huge. I count that as ovulation. Boom, 25 days later, she sheds. I'm like, that's pre-laid shed. Boom. This girl's on 60 days now.
Yeah.
60 days. And I know you just had one at 40, 3 or 7 or something like that?
43 yesterday. 43. Yeah, she had finally laid. Yeah.
So, and now she's finally, I almost gave up on her. I almost threw a rat in there and said, eat, just forget it.
Right.
But then she started moving back towards the back. And you can tell now that she's, I could see lumps in her. I'm like, you're going to lay a bunch of slugs is what you're going to do for me.
Yeah.
And so, which I don't care. Care more about her. I'm thinking like, should I take her out? I see people give them warm baths to kind of facilitate, binding or something like that. I don't know if she's egg bound, but she hasn't shown any kind of stress. She's now at the back. The last couple of days, she's doing those contortions a little bit,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so, because I have cameras, and every snake that has laid, I have footage on their, what they do, because it's, being a biologist, you got to be interested in.
Plus, it's cool, yeah. And like this day and age, if you can get a little camera in there, yeah, you want to.
So, so that's the first thing, kind of having those sets. The other thing is that one thing I realize is when you have a breeding stock, you don't want a bunch of kids holding them.
Right.
You don't want to stress them out like that. Yeah. So I want to have enough, one area that's just classroom snakes. We've had a couple. We had one teacher who donated a snake that was in her class for 4 years, 5 years. She's a huge normal. She's great temperament. I'm not going to breed her. I'm just going to have her be one of the big snakes that kids love putting around their neck.
Right.
I have a pastel male who's huge. So I'm going to keep that. So I'm going to take some of these snakes and utilize them for that element. Because I have also, during the year, Adam, you got to see the kids. The teachers, they've stopped taking field trips. They can just come to my classroom.
You just come here and check out the snake.
And so they from anywhere from the lower school kids, 5 or 6 year olds, all the way up to high school. I've got 5th grade classes, science classes coming in here. We're doing Punnett squares, and I can actually show them recessives.
Right. Right.
So it's a blast. So I'm going to make sure that doesn't go away. And then I need to sell some. I need to sell because I need to be able. I can't foot this bill.
Yeah, I mean, a 40 snake overhead is not inexpensive, and I haven't heard you mention it, but so I'm guessing that you're not breeding rats.
No, I'm not breeding rats. Right. That's one thing. I do frozen thawed, all frozen thawed, and I just actually found a place that's real close to me. I didn't even know was here, so now I don't even have to order them. I can just go and get them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. I feed all frozen thawed. Even the snakes that I were either given or purchased as an adult, or maybe a juvenile that we're eating live, they're now switched over to frozen thawed. So I have a couple that still every once in a while I treat, especially if it's one of my breeders I don't care about. But every snake that I want to put in a kid's hands, that could be a potential one that they take home because they adopted it. I want to be able to, them to have a snake that is comfortable with eating frozen thawed, because that's probably where most people are.
That's right.
When they first get a snake.
Yep. And I'm sorry, so I might have missed the detail, and I know you've said it a couple times now. So when they adopt it, it's not just classroom adoption. Like they'll be able to take that snake as their own.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Right. So basically, what happens is they so I have an ophiology club too, which is the study of snakes.
Okay.
So we have kids in that class or in that club, and they come in and we talk about stuff and hold snakes, and then we do some other things and hold snakes, and we it's constantly holding snakes. And so so when we had the babies, I was like, the kids wanted snakes, and I'm not going to charge kids for snakes.
Right.
So I came up with this idea. So let's, you pick a snake that you think you're comfortable with. And I kind of wanted to pilot it because being local, I'd love for that to happen with people outside of the school, be able to offer them, hey, are you interested? Like there's a student who came to one of the clubs, doesn't go to one of the camps, and he doesn't go to this school, but he loves snakes. And he's still sending me pictures. Look what I caught on my chicken coop. And he holds up this huge rat snake. And he's using his mom's phone, and I'm going back. Some of my conversations with his mom and him, and I'm like, he can come up here anytime, and if he wants to hold a snake, and if eventually he gets and likes the snake, then you can purchase the snake that you've been spending all this time with. So the kids, they've got to be comfortable holding a snake. They have to know how to clean the snake. They have to know the temperature ranges. They have to purchase their enclosure before they can take the snake. And I've even thought about if I did work to charge the kids for snake, then I would have the enclosure already. But no, it's something that they have to do anyway. They have to go ahead and build, an enclosure. So, I have tanks here that I've used. We have lots of different, we've got from the big ones to little, humidity and temperature monitors that we put, just so they can see what's important. Because, one thing I've learned is there's a lot of pathways to take as far as country. And, the key is that no matter what you do, you gotta keep the snake, at a right temperature and right humidity.
Oh yeah, the care's got to be on point no matter what. Yeah.
So that has to be consistent. So we talk about heat pads. I show them gross video, photos of snakes that have been burned and died.
Yeah.
And so, so that's so that's what they do. Now I had one student of mine who has been moving towards adoption, and then over the summer, she just felt that, her and her parents, that it wasn't the time, right? And I said, great, well, you can still be here and take care of that snake, and that can be here.
What a great thing to learn at the right time versus too late or after. Yeah.
Right. And so, if I could do that more often locally, then that hopefully will prevent, people coming knocking on my door. And I tell them too, I'll take the snake back.
Right.
Don't let it go. Don't, I will take it back. No. And if I can afford it, I'll give you your money back too. So that's really the plan right now, is just to kind of make, and that's why I like your show also, because a lot of times you get into those numbers and what it costs. And I think one of the first videos of yours I watched was where you were kind of using your spreadsheet and saying, how much you broke even, and kind of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's great video. That. And I was looking at that today. The old expression, don't count your eggs before they hatch. But if those all hatch and I'm, not even, just average odds, I'll finally, this is a little bit sidestep, but my second year breeding, third year of owning animals, I'll be completely in the black for every penny I've ever put in to ball python. Yeah, this year. Now, I've never gone out and bought a Batman, and I've built a little bit. It doesn't feel slow. Genetically, it's been a little bit slow, but this year production should provide some holdbacks of that caliber. So I've built mine along the way, but I've also built revenue along the way. But yeah, I'll be totally in the black with a little bit left over to buy an ultrasound. That's where I intend to end 2022, and then obviously 2023 should be that would set me up for a pretty banner year that way. But yeah, I do share all that because first I enjoy it, but second, it's something that can get out of hand, and I've worked hard and I've earned some money, but not enough to go, I don't care about 5 figures here and 5 figures there. That's not, I don't. Yeah, like I hardly spend that on cars, much less snakes.
Well, me either. I mean, that's the thing. That's why when that opportunity came up, I said, well, when am I going to do this again? Never.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I'm going to be dead before I can create one on my own. So, so I just I did that. And the good thing now is I have no more space. I have no more drawers to put anything in, so I can't have any more snakes. I'm waiting on a couple of racks to come in, but these work fine for me. They have casters. I'm not going to get an ARS or anything yet, or anything like that, because space here changes, and I might need to move this here and have a plug here and and so
right.
But it's going to keep this does fine for me right now. But just the upkeep, I don't use cocoa husk or anything like that. I started out using that, but I'm all paper towel, or I use craft paper. I use this stuff here. Get this stuff from Amazon in a big old roll, and I cut it, especially for these 40s here. It comes in a roll like right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
But where is it? Oh, it's over here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I use that, and I have those paper liners too. I tried those out because we were doing a project with it just to kind of see what would work. And my biggest issue with the cocoa was just controlling mold. It was hard to even, spot cleaning. And when I clean, again, another thing we have in common, when I clean, I clean. I mean, I do a full clean, and so, but sometimes, you just don't see it. You don't see something that you missed. And so to spot clean all the time and then getting rid of that cocoa husk, that's a lot of money to go down. So, so I get this paper, which is pretty cheap, and I get paper towels from Costco, and that's what I use pretty much.
Yeah.
I keep them on hand in case I have to, they say if you have some feeding issues, change the bedding, maybe that's it for a little bit, or put them in a different, like a tighter tub, so I keep some on hand, but I don't really use it.
Yeah, I do, and you alluded to it. I use some cocoa, but not very much, because I've got pretty high humidity. I mostly use it in the hopes that it'll clump their waste for me and make it a little easier to clean up. And it does. I actually like the smell of cocoa.
Me too.
That helps a little bit in the room. But really, I don't use much. But here in Florida, I'm in my air-conditioned office, and it's still 37 degrees or 37% humidity with the AC going. So in the Snake Room, it's right on point, which makes it easier. So I really don't need it I use very little of it. But yeah, I'm with you. Now, I was going to ask, because I have, here's how crazy I am. I have my commercial dish pit. I have a restaurant dish sink.
Yeah, I love that.
That I clean with, because I wanted it to be as clean as possible. And I don't understand, and I'm not knocking it, but spot cleaning to me from a bacterial level really isn't cleaning. That's just removing waste that we can see. And obviously in the wild, in their nests, the sanitizing guy isn't coming through and cleaning up after them. So I'm sure that it's just fine. But from that restaurant mindset, it was pull the paper, drop the snake in a new tub, set that up and go, and then run this through my dish pit here. And that is what I do. So I don't have I'm kind of with you on the cost and the overhead of extra cocoa is a little bit much. Now, I understand, I don't know that it's true. I don't know it to be true, but understand that when they are nesting pre-lay, apparently it really helps to have a nest and to have that familiar smell. So that I will build their nests for them, or build them enough cocoa to nest. But otherwise, I don't.
Right, and I did that as well with the first 3, and that is the one thing I changed, which was intentional. The one thing I changed with this one that's on day 60 is I did not make a nest for her. And I'm wondering if that is, I'm wondering if it is. The other thing is with her, because of the issues. Not issues. It's just she was different, and I know they're different. It's just like but I want them all to be the same. But I kept every 10 minutes I'm opening it up and looking.
Right, I do that too. Yeah,
and then so that's why I keep the camera in there, and I just try to look at the camera as much as I can and go from there. But yeah, so we'll see if that makes a difference. I keep great notes on everything, and so next year I'll try it and see if it makes a difference.
Well, that's cool. And I think like part of the intrigue for me, and I know you come at it from a scientific standpoint, and I like to think that I do, but I come at it from a consistency standpoint, which is my background in restaurants. If somebody has a great dish one night and it's terrible the next night, we could take it down to a process and a manufacturing study and reproduce great results. And that's what I try and apply on mine. And I know that's also a big portion of the scientific method, where you control variables and identify what the variable is. So Joe, I think it's incredible what you're doing. I mean, we're already up to nearly an hour that we've talked here. And I'm going to run with and get on with some family stuff for the evening.
Cool.
It's important, but I think it's amazing what you're doing with it's weird. Juniors and seniors, I don't necessarily think of as kids, but they are in a lot of ways. But with the young adults, in a lot of ways, they're handling an incredible amount of stress, like you say, getting ready for school and all that. I think it's fantastic. And again, I think you said you had 39 snakes. I mean, that's a lot to manage.
Not including the 15 in the incubator.
Right, yeah, on the way that are coming, and you're going to have, I hope you do, if you hit those 6 or 7 clutches, it's just going to be a really bountiful year, and it's going to be fun, man. You're dealing in some firepower as far as the codoms and whatnot. Like that's going to be real fun to. I bet doing the clutch identifications in the class is going to be just a blast, man.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to do. I want to have either a live YouTube something where, you know, we're just going through the collection and, you know, get some, what we're planning and get some suggestions on, you know, hey, that's going to be a killer, you know, but good luck identifying it. Cause I don't really need a lot of that, you know, although some of the things I have are going to give me stuff like that. I understand that. But just to kind of hear what others who have been through all this would say, you know,
Exactly.
You might do this first and then this second, because I've heard some great things. So I'm probably going to do something like that. Just get, you know, next year, like call it 22, 23, and just say, here's what I've got in the queue, and what does that look like, and just kind of show snakes where, what we have already that's proven female. You know, I don't have to rush on things, so that's good. You know, the other thing we have happening too is that Dr. Seidel, you know, we're collaborating with her on, we're actually developing a high school protocol to do what she's doing at college.
Oh, fantastic. That's incredible.
Yeah. So
man, I need to get in touch with her. This is Dr. Hannah Seidel. We're talking about the ball python genetics project. And she's the researcher, not a commercial endeavor, which I'm not knocking a commercial endeavor on that. But she's science for science and researching, seeking facts. That'd be fun to get us all together, man, and talk through that. And that, so you're developing a high school version of that the students.
Yeah, she's. I'm looking at the way she does it. Of course, she has some equipment that I don't have, and she actually does some things that I don't need to do, like sequencing of the genome. But I already do in my AP biology class things like CRISPR, which is gene editing, and so we have PCR machinery and centrifuges. We have all that stuff. And she's going to send me some of the stored DNA that she has, so I can kind of work on what that would look like for a teacher doing. Because I used to train teachers as well, and develop curriculum. So, you know, it's going to be not something. This wouldn't be something that somebody can just, I guess, you know, use at home. I guess you could if you bought all this stuff. I think there's people doing it already now, anyway. But
I think they're trying to. Yeah. I haven't seen anybody truly take hold yet, but I know
that's what we're working on, a protocol that we can maybe publish, you know, in a research journal for teachers, and so this can, you know, then maybe, you know, what's happening is teachers are getting snakes in their classrooms, and now they have a built-in curriculum, you know, experiment, and then you've got all these breeders who are trying to find out if their hets are truly hets. So it's got the real world connections and stuff. And
so there's the resources out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Joe, let's stay in touch. I'd love to have you back.
Cool.
I'm looking at the calendar, but sometime in the future. I think it's great. I'd love to hear how your clutches end up and where this goes in future years. And what a great, you know, we didn't even talk about it, and I'm not, it sounds a little bit creepy, like exposing future generations. I don't mean it in a creepy way, but, you know, the hobby, the more normal and the more exposed that people can become to it, I think the better for all of us, particularly somebody living in Florida where frankly, the laws being considered right now are scary for somebody like myself. I appreciate all of that. And it sounds like an incredibly healthy way to do it. And, you know, what a blessing you are to have to those students to have you as a teacher. And that's just a really cool thing. I hope you're able to keep it up. One more time, Kingdom Pythons 143 on Instagram. There are links down below on my page and then on the Instagram page to take you over to the YouTube channel. And of course, if anybody watching that wants to follow this, it's as easy as clicking on Joe's channel. Again, Kingdom Pythons on YouTube. And again, the link will be down below. There's a lot of cool stuff, and there's your chance to see the real world interaction of teacher and student. And you're the only one I've heard of. I feel like this would have come up in the community of doing breeding projects in the classroom with the students. That's fantastic. I think it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. And thanks, Adam, just for the opportunity to kind of yak with you.
Most definitely, Joe. I look forward to it. Let's do it again. And we'll keep staying in touch. And by the way, thank you for all the support. You've been very kind to me. What people don't know is, you know, the comments behind the scenes and the messages and that. We've been in touch for quite some time. Yeah. And that means the world to me too. So thank you very much for that, Joe.
Well, I appreciate all your help. Definitely, for sure.
All right, you're welcome. And I'll let you know when the video comes out published, another week and a half or so.
Perfect. No worries. Thanks.
All right. Thanks,
Take it
Joe.
easy. Ciao. Enjoy your family.
Thank you. I will.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Man, how cool is that? I gotta say thank you so much to Joe at Kingdom Pythons for hanging out with me, for sharing his time, sharing his story, creating this content. Do me a favor, check out Kingdom Pythons. All of Joe's links are down below in the description. And in the meantime, check out these videos. Keep it right here on Proper Royals. We'll keep you up to date with everything that we have going on here. And I cannot wait until I get to see you in the next video. Until then, see ya.